Hello, Mrs. Butler. I understand that you have some questions about ADHD.
Yes, I do. My daughter, Tiffany, has always worked really hard to keep her grades up, but she seems to be struggling even more this year now that she started middle school. Tiffany isn't hyper and never has been, so I don't understand why the school wants her tested for ADHD.
Well, I understand your confusion. Many people think children diagnosed with ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder need to be hyper. The major symptoms of ADHD fall into three categories: hyperactivity, impulsivity, and inattention. Each of these categories has specific, defined characteristics, and if a child meets a certain number of these, they may have the disorder. There are checklists available for parents and teachers to complete, which help us make the diagnosis.
So I just need to fill out a checklist, and if she has the symptoms, she has the disorder?
Well, it's not quite that easy. There are a few more requirements that must be met. Her symptoms must have caused her problems before age 7, and they must be causing problems in at least 2 settings: home, school, or intersocial setting.
One thing I have noticed is that she doesn't seem to be able to keep her friends. She makes them easily enough, but then she says they don't want to be her friend anymore. Does this have anything to do with ADHD?
It certainly can be a part of ADHD. Often for ADHD kids, a thought is on the mind and out the mouth before the brain has time to decide if saying it might hurt the other person's feelings. Impulsivity, or not thinking before acting, is one of the main criteria in the diagnosis of ADHD. Many children with ADHD also had difficulty recognizing nonverbal cues, which would help them identify how their friends are feeling. It may be difficult for the other child to tell your daughter that what she said hurt her feelings, so she just says she doesn't want to be friends anymore.
I had no idea that this was part of ADHD. Do you see the symptoms of ADHD change over time?
Yes, the symptom that changes the most is probably hyperactivity. Even in those children who could never sit still, by the time they are teenagers, they'll most often only have some minor fidgetiness. They may tap their pencils or roll them on the desk or click their pens incessantly. These activities can still hamper their learning, however, and need to be identified. The impulsivity, or acting before they think, usually continues even into adulthood if it is not treated. The inattention can persist into adulthood as well.
Thank you so much for all of this information.